During a late-night phone chat, Erica Mena's voice cracked as she detailed yet another battle with her husband, Mendeecees. According to Erica, their family has been adversely impacted despite assumptions about his hidden troubles. She uncovered secret drug stashes in his trailer, coded chats organizing late-night drop-offs, and according to sources, inexplicable cash movements into untraceable accounts left many astonished. Emotions running high, and the family split when Erica put her evidence on social media in an emotional broadcast. Production crews on Love and Hip Hop apparently paused shooting as news spread of Erica's bombshell charges. Sandy Smith reportedly rushed into urgent meetings and demanded documentation, and Answer's co-workers chatted about disputes they never shot in costume trailers, and loud shouts reverberated around Phantom halls. Everyone is questioning if Mendeecees is genuinely selling relief for cash, or whether his wife is making up a tale to get back with Erica. Supporters were carefully checking every social media feed to see whether the guy they apped would come out of it unharmed, or if his reputation would suffer the morning after Erica's emotive video. The lot seemed like a war. Coffee carts were left unattended, cameras were not working, and lights were off while staff gathered in groups. Rumors of hidden drug deliveries and stashes rang in the halls, and one assistant producer, clutching a garbage bag, stated with dread that she had spotted guys leave his trailer at the crack of dawn. She confessed in a shaky voice, "And I believed it was makeup until I discovered the pills." Viewers were enraged, and the family was torn as Erica's allegations loomed big. Erica paced in her own caravan while her phone screen gleamed with messages from friends, family, and network executives. "We need to confront him now," Yandy said in a text message. She decided to share the late-night conversation she had covertly taped, in which the Mendeecees pleaded for more supply, stating he couldn't sleep without it. Erica's voice could be heard almost clearly in the tape she subsequently made public as she answered, "I can't keep pretending this isn't destroying us." After the recordings were leaked, social media went berserk. Yandy confronted Mendeecees in the makeup trailer, turning to face him and saying, "You promised Yower in recovery." Her voice cracking, he sank on the ground, head between. "I'm sorry," he murmured, his tears mixed with the harsh fluorescent light. "I thought I had everything under control." Erica's narration in the released video shattered the tension. "When did you almost ruin our family?" Her comments struck like blows, and the real wrath in her voice revealed the depth of her anguish, leading production managers to jump in and request an emergency halt. While the tabloids leaped in, drug lord becomes reality TV star, networks submitted well-crafted remarks urging them to examine the claims and promote Cass's well-being. "While this is going on, can't film," claimed one season producer. One banner said, "A family in crisis." Another suggested a narrative of betrayal, implying that Erica's actions was motivated by envy. The contradicting testimonies further worsened the pandemonium, leaving viewers unclear of who to within the Harris home. Siblings were crowded in whispered circles, their faces displaying dread. His mother clutched a framed portrait of Mendeecees, smiling with his children. He cried silently in the kitchen as his brother beat the table, saying, "We need proof, not rumors." Erica's father, who had been quiet until then, laid a loving hand on his daughter's shoulder as she cried, "I don't want to believe it." His eyes blazed with terror, but he answered, "We stand." Suspicion damaged the relationships that tied family members together, while late-night discussion programs helped make the dispute a must-watch television show. Legal specialists evaluated the encrypted communications that Erica had uploaded. Addiction counselors assessed the signs of dependence. One therapist argued that addiction flourishes in secrecy, while another suggested that this may harm their prospects of recovery. In reaction to Erica's public exposure, viewers disputed whether disclosure was a necessary intervention or a cynical act of exploitation. Personal tragedies drove viewership to climb, and commentators feed the flames. Unexpectedly, a former cast member made additional claims, claiming that he witnessed individuals haggling with a hooded man beyond the stage door. "I assumed they were filming." When queried about film shoot overruns, he recounted the situation, but it turned out to be actual security files subsequently revealed unidentifiable visits. After curfew, network supplied this justification, but the time range corresponded with Erica's text logs. The midnight drop-off text that she had exposed to the public storylines combined to present a compelling image of unlawful activity. Fans questioned if he fled into solitude when photographers spotted him leaving a rehabilitation institution with his hood off. This a regular treatment or a marketing stunt?" One fan remarked on Instagram, "He's poisoning himself on the show." Another admirer wrote, "Be sympathetic to him. Addiction is an illness." The internet. The issue echoed the conundrum of balancing privacy versus publicity, compassion versus criticism. Mendeecees denied surreptitiously coordinating any distribution. A leaked video shows him speaking into his phone, saying, "I only ever sold my medications to aid pals who are suffering in parking garages. You would give them away at midnight. That is trafficking, not medication." Erica shot out in her furious web. Family friends came up with varied tales, with one saying that Mendeecees had confessed to administering drugs to a childhood buddy because they felt he was assisting. As the incident played out in real time, the raw emotion shown divisions that went beyond legal concerns of breach of trust between a husband and wife. Another acknowledged to purchasing narcotics and selling them for money. The two narratives tangled reality into a web. Erica organized a family intervention for the Harris family, demanding on full disclosure. "I'm lost," Mendeecees wailed, glimmering as he broke down. "I no longer know who I am." His admission didn't give simple answers. Instead, it simply produced more questions. Now the production faced serious decisions. Could they balance authenticity with the respect of actual individuals in dangerous situations? Alternatively, should the intervention be videotaped for a special episode? The network covertly constructed a new season that centered on the lives of other cast members. But sponsors pulled out when a candid service arc was mentioned in passing, claiming brand safety concerns, and a major company discontinued their sponsorship. Fans staged online petitions and prayer vigils outside the studio gates. "I urged Erica to withdraw the accusations and seek treatment instead. And I urged police enforcement to investigate the alleged trafficking, since the situation was too toxic to continue as it was." Intended to ruin him, Erica claimed in a farewell appearance with a late-night site, fatigued but unbowed. The dark trending hashtag "Break This Family Apart" mirrored scores of people held a vigil at the studio gate, where lights flickered and stories of dread and hope swirled together. Detractors highlighted her teary expression, as while many people found her sensitivity appealing. One commenter said, "It's reality TV, not reality. My children deserve to be safe, and I love him." Stop crying for ratings. The Harris household seemed half empty at night on those first tough days, and the gap between skepticism and empathy was deeper than any narrative point. Erica sat with her shoulders down in the living room, going through messages of support and disdain, but at what cost? Down on her bones, Mendeecees reclined back with the door closed in a guest room, taking refuge in the solitude. In a last short statement, the business assured that safety, the well-being of our cast, and support Eric and Mendeecees through this difficult time. But underneath the well-crafted lines, there were hazy misgivings, as the father and mother were split between believing in their daughter and staying committed to their son. The studio lot was eerily silent the morning following Erica's live broadcast. Fans yearning for closure were ready for part 2. The drug investigation would deepen, relationships would shift, and family connections would be put to the ultimate test. Would the next scandal eclipse this one? Or would cameras ever record true recovery? Sound stages remain black. Camera teams have gone overnight, and murmurs of secret drug swaps and midnight drop-offs rang along empty corridors as sponsors sent producers irate. In a conference room, network executives fought about whether to continue recording or stop. One producer trembled and muttered, "We built our show on drama, but this is real life, and too dangerous to ignore." A seasoned private investigator, Eric Med, in her caravan, provided data that proved Mendeecees' movements, including GPS pings that showed him in abandoned garages at 2 o'clock a.m. Her fingers shook as she scribbled each line on the spreadsheet. She was making cash transfers to untraceable accounts and sending emails with code names for parcels. "Everything relates," she added quietly. "We're dying because my husband is running a ring." Her voice trembled with pain, but her determination was unshakable. Friends concurred and promised to assist her speak the whole truth. Wendy Smith had her own experience when she arrived to support the means. After last week's overdose, flashbulbs burst as she attempted to move towards the door with her phone in her hand. Reporter yelled, "Yandy, do you still believe in him?" She paused, tears in her eyes, when she said, I believe in recovery." Her tone was more controlled than anticipated. "Yet first, I need honesty." Her words went viral on social media, provoking intense disputes about whether she was praising a monster or a guy in need. Back on the grounds where the actors had gathered small groups, one stylist confessed that she had found unlabeled pharmaceutical bottles in Mendeecees' trailer garbage and had believed they were prescriptions. Another co-worker alleges when a mystery visitor offered him a brown packet while they were shooting. Their theories quickly spread. Had they overlooked evidence of unlawful actions? To improve their ratings, confidence deteriorated as connections moved, with some approving Erica's call for aid and others warning of hasty betrayal. Meanwhile, Mendeecees fled to a friend's flat, where was carefully guarded. He was noticed by reporters coming via a back entry with his hood down. Supporters thought that he may be hiding from Erica's sight, or from federal investigators. Video leaks said that he met two mystery persons who swapped tiny items and money. The harm was done when newspapers showed dramatic music while looping tape. Even though the validity was not verified, public opinion ranged between pity for a guy dealing with addiction and wrath against a suspected trafficker within a downtown law office. Eric's team gave over the evidence to federal investigators, and when Mendeecees attorneys combed over it, they discovered irregularities including strange rounding of transfer amounts, geolocation data that paralleled known studio commutes, and time stamps on messages that weren't compatible with phone records. They aimed to throw doubt on the integrity of the evidence, show gaps in the chain of custody, and emphasize probable framing by competing cast members resentful of Mendeecees' reappearance. The main lawyer, Jasmine Rodriguez, tapped her pen and leaned back. "We'll show that as a scam," she emphasized at private family meetings. The Harris family wrestled with surprise and confusion. Mendeecees' mother, who had previously been strong about her views, was now sitting silently in a corner, shaking as she glanced through social media. "We can't ignore these allegations, but we can't abandon him either," said his sister, responded harshly, turning to the other guys. A relative thinks that Mendeecees may become even more ostracized as a consequence of Erica's enormous public notoriety. The family's togetherness was disrupted by fear and contradictory allegiances. Late-night talk show panelists grasped the story. Addiction professionals underlined the virtues of compassion and therapy over condemnation, while legal academics worried against the despite the fact that addiction thrives on secrecy. One counselor said that exposing someone to the public might impede their recovery if the evidence is accurate. "We cannot condone trafficking under the premise of sickness," answered a different presenter. The confrontation between legal intrigue and personal agony grabbed millions of spectators. A former Mendeecees colleague came out in a clandestine interview amid the turmoil. He claimed to have observed a guy who matched Mendeecees' description directing the exchange of money in back streets. He disclosed code names such Alpha Drop and Cleanup in a trembling voice. His motive was condemned by people who referred to him as a vengeful ex-friend. His fans said that his testimony corroborated Erica's screenshots. Supporters were further split by the different tales, which heightened the mystery. Meanwhile, following her allegations, Erica's agency scheduled the first in-person. Erica practiced her responses to queries regarding evidence, motive, and maybe remorse in private, rehearsing statements like "I spoke up to save my family." The network spotted an opportunity and presented primetime programming skillfully, mixing emotion and sadness in order to retain "Our kids are okay, but I hope Mendeecees receives the care he needs." Production officials convened crisis meetings to alter the season's script, whether they present the occurrence as a story of redemption or redirect the emphasis to other cast members. According to a draft plan, the special would comprise of 3 segments disclosing the surgery following Erica's hunt for the truth, and following Mendeecees' path to recovery if he emerged. Hidden sponsors objected to the thought of benefiting from addiction and needed more rigorous wellness processes. Before production restarted, the network's public relations, in an effort to get a glimpse of the cast members coming, the team created new protocols for cast support and anonymous reporting of criminal activities. Fans camped out on the site throughout the night, some holding posters that read "Seek Truth, not ratings," while others asked for the Mendeecees to be reinstalled under portable warming lights. Campfires flickered as supporters exchanged ideas and appealed for a solution on reality TV. The community's bedside vigil showed a deeper demand for honesty and accountability. As the dawn rose on the second day of this developing narrative, federal officials revealed they had begun an official probe into the claimed subpoenas for the distribution network were sent to key members of the cast and crew, including producers and personal assistants. Investigators studied set logs, bank data, and correspondence backups. Every individual who got a subpoena had to choose between cooperating and maybe divulging personal information or resisting and potentially risking contempt proceedings for all parties to the disagreement. Not only Mendeecees, the stakes had never been greater. Finally, an anonymous tip led investigators to a distant storage facility loaded with unmarked containers, some of which were tagged with "Street," presumably indicate narcotics. Their finding sparked in a fresh wave of arrests and widened the scope of the investigation to include the Mendeecees, as well as other alleged cash conspirators. Morning newspapers with the headline "Ring Uncovered" indicated that Erica's boldness may have revealed a broader criminal scheme hidden under the gloss and glamour of reality television. Erica prepared herself for the key part of supporting her evidence in court and bearing the full impact of as the investigation's scope widened. The Globe saw a rift between the narrative gave indignation, pity, controversy, and atonement. more discoveries, legal struggles, and maybe even the opportunity for healing if the truth could triumph over falsehoods, and real individuals could bear the limelight. The morning following Erica's webcast, the studio lot seemed abnormally calm. Vacant coffee shops and lifeless. Cameras indicated to the production halt that was imposed overnight. Reports of midnight producers raced to handle the repercussions. In a meeting room behind Soundstage, 3 executives fought fiercely over whether to cancel the remainder of the season or shift to an addiction awareness special sponsors. They required guarantees of cast welfare and data security, since they couldn't just seek ratings without to protect actual people. Erica organized an urgent meeting in her caravan with a few close friends. A seasoned public relations specialist, presenting bank statements with mysterious transactions and credit card payments linked to distant warehouses close to her laptop. A former police officer explained Mendeecees' GPS data. SUV exploring abandoned industrial areas approximately 3 o'clock a.m. The written chats from his phone, containing code terms like parcel and drop point, were shown on pages of acrylic outlined in bright red. Erica's words trailed off as she motioned towards the timeline. Beyond addiction, she said that he is accountable for shipments. Yandy walked into the lot a few seconds later, her typical serenity giving way to sheer dread. As she got out of her car, phone in hand, she observed the paparazzi vehicles around the perimeter. Reporters arrived, asking questions about her husband's ALLEGED behavior backstage. Cast members clustered in little knots of fear when she murmured, "I support his recovery, but I stand with my buddy in finding the truth while suppressing others." Colleagues watched the debate discreetly. I'm not sure whether she was defending their own interests in the network's selections or supporting Erica's cause. Suddenly those moments seemed full of new significance. One stylist revealed that she had noticed pill bottles without labels tossed away in a cosmetics trash pail a few days ago, and another background actor remembered witnessing Mendeecees depart from a service elevator with a brown plastic bag is probable containing food prop in the interim. A court injunction was filed on Mendeecees in isolation at a private rehabilitation institution, and his lawyer was able to win permission for one family visit. Friendship strained as some supporters publicly hailed Erica's bravery, while others insisted on waiting. Yandy, fearful that the scandal might jeopardize their careers, put a soothing hand on his arm and murmured, "No matter what," whispering, "We're here for you." He nodded, his eyes sad and serious. The communication that was released to a gossip website gave an extra unsettling aspect. Private sadness displayed in the midst of the public spectacle. "I wish to put this right," he said, "but I'm afraid. What will happen next?" Passionate debate erupted on fan forums outside the lot, and current hashtags like #TruthIsFamilyArt and #Seek the event showed a divided audience response and went viral, with some viewers admiring Erica her boldness in coming clean and some condemning her for releasing personal information. Information conflicts grew in the Harris home when conspiracy channels examined every element, from the dirt in the warehouse footage to the Mendeecees SUV brand, with each speaker presumably knowing just enough to add to the intrigue. Mutual pals arrived there on podcasts to either confirm or disprove rumors. Mendeecees' mother is angered by the charges, met his siblings in a secret family gathering, and they questioned whether they had disregarded warning indications. Include late-night messages, inexplicable absences, and supposed indebtedness. Voices rose, "If you loved him, you would stand with our daughter and seek proof." His mother wailed in reaction to his father, a former police captain, who claimed that prudence was required. A storage facility affiliated with Mendeecees' firm was seized before daylight. Federal authorities and tactical soldiers disguised in plain clothes hauled warehouse clerks to tents and away for interrogation and confiscated cartons of unidentified prescription vials, reflecting the dichotomy between familial loyalty and the pursuit of justice. The raid demonstrated how Erica's assertions had a rumor was developed into a detailed criminal inquiry, and witnesses used their iPhones to record the event as detectives carried evidence onto unmarked vehicles. Headlines like "Evidence Uncovered" and "Operation Exposed" appeared on social media. Following word of the raid, a courtroom emergency hearing was conducted. During the dispute between judges and attorneys about the legitimacy of the original search warrant, prosecutors claimed that the operation's breadth necessitated stringent procedures. But defense counsel maintained that the injunction was unduly broad, claiming privacy concerns. And bystanders saw the tension. This was a legal war with actual lives on the line, not simply another reality TV Plantan Network. Executives conducted a simultaneous crisis call to alleviate sponsor worries, the court cautioned. Both sides opposed sensationalism and demanded a serious review of the facts. Executive bemoaned that what started as a quarrel on tape had become a warning against unmonitored behavior, while another said that openness and quick changes may restore public confidence. They also wrote new contract conditions that require the performers to undergo rigorous wellness exams and digital security assessments. Their exchange summarized the underlying dilemma: how to preserve talent without late-night talk programs. Seized on the issue by minimizing the drama that drives the show, with addiction specialists and criminal justice analysts expressing opposing perspectives. A former prosecutor urged that allegations of human trafficking deserve responsibility regardless of personal hardships, while serving as a counselor, recommended compassion and treatment-first approaches, warning of the stigma that destroys lives in the middle of the mayhem. Erica utilized a prominent podcast to explain her choice, and her voice cracked. Described how her obligation to their children and her affection for Mendeecees collided. The controversy eclipsed primetime dramas, and people tuned in to see each heated exchange, driving ratings. She remarked with tears in her eyes, "I never imagined it would go this far. But as I witnessed the falsehoods proliferate, I decided I had to stand out." He is not simply a fictitious figure on television, but also a father, son, and friend. The next surprise was an anonymous podcast episode that reportedly had audio notes from Mendeecees' phone in which he appealed for aid, admitting that he was in poor condition and significantly in debt. While many appreciated her genuineness, others derided it as playing victim at dark. A divided community had to decide between supporting Erica's battle for the truth and embracing Mendeecees' rehabilitation and atonement. The audio muted portrayed a guy caught by horrible choices and circumstances, and the people accepted all of it, despite legal experts advising that such evidence may not be acceptable if it was not proven. When the cameras were off, actual life caught between devastation and regeneration, truth and fantasy whirled around the growing crisis and emotions. Climax when federal officials came in unannounced cars before daybreak to execute a search warrant on